Hi, all, Bones here from BSA Bantams, and welcome back to my workshop, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, what I'm going to do is start doing some modifications on my race bike. Now, when I did up the computer program and everything like that, one of the things I made a pretty big mistake on was the length of this inlet tract from where I measured it from and where I measured it to. However, I've got that resolved, and the net result is I have to shorten this. Door slamming in the wind. So I'll get into it and I'll explain it a bit. So you can see on the inlet manifold that this is actually flange mounted for one of these flange mounts. But what I'm going to do is change it to that fitting there that fits on the carb, where you've got that both sides. So I've got to make a little stub that I'm going to have to weld on further down. And the reason for that is it's small, this flange side is too big to fit in up in under here, and that's how much I've got to actually take off. So first job will be is to go and machine up the new male stub that will fit in one of these. So you can imagine one of these mounts without the flange, just back to back like that. That's what I've got. That's what I've got coming. So I'll go and show you the drawing that I've done to go and machine this bit up. So that's my drawing that I've got to machine up with all my dimensions, and this on that side will be welded onto the inlet stub on the actual barrel. So I'm changing from, as I said before, from the flange mount to this stub mount. So I've got the outside diameter turn. I'm just going in, I've done a pilot drill, just going in with a 25mm drill, and then I'll bore out to 28mm and part it off. So I've made my inlet section, and there it is. As you can see here, I've also cut the inlet tract off. That's how far I was out by calc. That's a lot. Next issue is I've got to attach that onto there, and I haven't got an awful lot of room to weld in here. So my current thinking is I will TIG weld it most of the way around and finish off with a bit of bronze. I can't change this stub out because it'll take too much heat and it'll start distorting or potentially distorting the barrel, which is not what I want because it's already bored and honed. So if I was making a new one, obviously I'd make a completely new stub and bronze that on, but I've got to do a retrofit. So I'll keep nutting this one out and we'll see how we go. So the inlet tract mods have been completed. The adapter that I made yesterday, I've just bronzed that on. Got clearance underneath the carby there. When the engine's sitting in its normal position, that carby's not too angled up. It's got I think a tolerance of about 7 degrees out of alignment it can cope with it before you have to start playing with float levels and the like. So yeah, pretty happy with that. So we'll have to do a repaint on the fins, and what else have I got to do on the engine? I'm not quite sure, but I think this can go back together. The engine can go back together. So that may be next. So I just bumped the camera. Anyway, so what this is the main shaft, and I'm about to make up some bushes for the gear. So this has got two separate bushes in here, drilled holes through for lubrication, goes on your main shaft. See, this one's really loose, and there's a fairly good reason for that. If you've just done this quick drawing, when you find these Bantam main shafts, you will find that they are worn up this side, where the gap between the two bushes is, it's not worn, and then it'll wear, and then it'll taper off right at the end. So if you're ever going to change out your bushes, you really need to ensure that this is parallel all the way through. Otherwise, there's no point in reaming it, because you've got to get over this hump here. And it's usually a thou or two. And yes, that is enough. You'll find on bad ones the ends wear down by anything up to 10 thou or more, even more. So, bump the camera again. I've had a friend who's got a cylindrical grinder, and I sent him off a heap of main shafts to just do a minimum grind to clean them up to get them all parallel again, and he's done a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Peter, because I know he watches. And so now I'm going to, this has to get reduced a fair bit, so I'm going to have to make some bespoke bushes, but it means I've got a nice parallel main shaft to work with. So I'll get over on the lathe, get some bronze, make up some bushes, press them in, and we'll get this done. So I've just turned the outside diameter of these bushes, and I'm just drilling out the inside now. Obviously that's just a pilot hole. Because we're getting a bit of depth, we just keep backing it out. So there's our bushes, our new bushes pushed in. And what I'm going to do now is just drill the oil holes in it. You can see an oil hole there, 90 degrees around. There's another one, tiny little 16th oil hole. We'll get those drilled in, and then we can go for reaming. Always drill your holes before you ream. Just go through again. The only problem with these tiny drill bits is that they can barely clamp up in the chuck, and the last thing I want to be doing is using a cordless, because they just simply don't spin fast enough. So we'll get this. That's our first hole done, and there's our second hole there. So that's our main shaft done. That's got no rock in it whatsoever, and it obviously spins freely. And that's what you want. So we move on to the next job. So we've got everything prepped. And what I'm doing now, I'm just starting my rebuild of the engine. So I'll get all this together and get it back in the box. Things are progressing well. I did have an issue, however, with this lay shaft bush. It was a fraction tight, like end play wise like that. So I just scraped the shoulder surface on the inside, and that's spinning nicely now. I actually measure the end float, so I'll just tap that in, measure it, tap it back the other way, measure it. So I've got 1/4 thou, 0.1 of a mil end float in the shaft. So all the cases are obviously back together and torqued up, and now we're getting ready to put barrel and head on. So it's getting there slowly. I've just got obviously the inlet and the exhaust plugged up with a rag, and just pop that in there. What have I got to do now? Put some oil in it. That's it. So we'll get that done, and then we'll be nearly ready to fit up. Big one in the back. Big one. There's a second big one there.
I can't see it, mate. Put things I can't see it.
That's it. Good work. I'll do. Thank you. So as you just saw, engine's in. I'll just go through bolting all the engine up, hooking up all the umbilicals, clutch cable, carby, electronics, all that sort of stuff. Time to get me stool out. That's better. Instead of sitting on my knees, I've just been cutting half my head out. So yeah, just setting up timing in that now. We'll obviously rotor in just there and ruler, set me correct position before top dead center, get me stator mounted up. Clutch cable on next, chain on, fuel line on, tank on, and we'll go for a start. Be interested to see how it goes, how hard it is to start. So I've got the pipe, kickstarter, gear change lever back on. Time to get the tank on, the chain on. Rightio. Thought I was missing one there for a sec, but I'm not. Might pump the tyres up. Okay, I'm going for a roll start first because it's a fresh rebuild and sometimes I can be a little bit ticky touch, so we'll get some fuel on and see how we go. Rightio. Choke on. Yeah, well, it's going all right. It needs a definite carby chain though. But next job will be making an air cleaner for this. So I'll get onto that right now. So next little job is to make up an air filter. So I've 3D printed this. So I've got a little bell mouth on it, little nodules, and I'm just going to put some TIG wire, build basically a cage, modify this foam sock and see what we come up with. So just bending up my wire to fit in the back of my air filter. Rightio, so there's the cage that we've ended up with, stainless TIG wire. That's my 3D printed mount. Little bosses there. I've just gone in with a big wire, TIG wire I should say, heated up, just gone through and just made the hole sizes perfect. And that's, you know, it's pretty sturdy. A bit sturdier than I thought, to be honest. So, just bear with me. In here we have a foam sock. So what will happen from here, I will fit that up, push it all the way down to the bottom. This will have to obviously be trimmed up because it's too long. And that fits really well. Very happy. So around the edge of this piece is a small groove. So I'll use some lock wire and I'll actually pull the sock up, run a piece of lock wire around, and then lock wire it on, and we'll just see how it goes. But I definitely need some sort of air filtration for the testing I'm going to do on my road. So, well, I'm not going to do it on my road because that's not really kosher. I'll go to another secret and special testing place and do it. But anyway, got an air filter. So I'll get this finished and fitted. So I've just changed out my pilot jet down there. I'm not entirely happy with this, so I'm going to change the design a bit. I'm on the right track, but this isn't going to do the job that I want. But I'll show you the next Mark II version when I get around to designing one on CAD and 3D printing it again. But in the meantime, I've changed the pilot jet and I'm going to go for a start. There's the bike behind me. Progress thus far is really, really good. I'm still kicking myself. I've got it so wrong with my inlet track length and all that sort of stuff. But you know, that happens. All my fault. I'll own up to it. But initial runs up and down the road and a bit of tuning. I've changed out pilot jets and haven't quite got onto doing the main jet with big runs because I live on the gravel road. I need an air filter, so I'll get that. But all the hallmarks are looking really, really good, a lot better than what they were. So that's really good. So that'll just about end this video. There's obviously more work to do, but we'll get it done in time, in due course. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I am not sure, but this may be my last video for a while. I've only got a couple of weeks to go until I head away for a month. So I'll see if I can get another video out in the meantime. But if I don't, well, that's the reason why you probably won't see me for a while. To all my subscribers, thanks very much for your ongoing support. However, about 80% of the people that watch don't subscribe. So it doesn't cost you a shekel. So hit the button, hit like, all that sort of stuff. So until I see you next time, from Bones at BSA Bantams, I'll see you later.